Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be stepping right into the twilight of a dying world today. It's a grim, incredibly dark Gothic fable centered around a place known as Cynos. And we're going to experience this whole thing through the despairing eyes of a lone, still organic survivor. We'll literally be witnessing a civilization's tragic descent into clockwork nihilism. It's really a deep exploration of what happens when the agonizing, messy burden of human existence just becomes way too heavy to bear. I want you to imagine standing amidst the ashes of your own civilization. You're the very last being with a beating heart, and you utter this lament. I watch as they trade the wet agony of choice for the perfect silent hum of the gear. Wow, that just hits you, right? It's a willing, absolutely terrifying descent into this macabre numbness. We're talking about the conscious surrender of the human soul to mechanical stasis.
Okay, let's dive into this. Part 1. The agony of biological choice. So, to truly understand this massive surrender, we have to first look at the baseline of organic life itself. Human existence is defined by biological fragility, highly unpredictable rhythms, and this painful yet erratic beauty. This is what the fable calls the agony of choice. Now, opposed to this is the mechanical void. This offers a promise of absolute security, the total eradication of the burden of free will, and the comfort of eternal stasis. Because they are just so exhausted by the friction of living, humanity looks toward the silence of this void as an escape. And this yearning for the void is born out of a deeply toxic Nietzschean ressentiment. Actually, think of it less as just sadness and more as a profound, festering resentment of life's inherent suffering and vulnerability. The populace becomes so completely consumed by this will to nothingness that they actively start to despise their own vitality. Their tragic, desperate desire is to simply turn the universe off, just to escape the burden of feeling anything at all.
Which brings us to Part 2, the Faustian anti-scholar. Enter the Sandman. Now, he is absolutely not a benevolent creator or a savior. He's this twisted Faustian figure. Representing a dark archetype of corrupted enlightenment, he wields logic and precision, but not to elevate humanity. Instead, he uses them as instruments of absolute negation. He is the grand architect actively dismantling the human spirit, doing it all under the guise of curing its pain. He's basically holding the scalpel, ready to sever us entirely from the organic world.
So, the crucial point is how this transaction actually goes down. Part 3. Forging the Dark Bargain. We can chronologically map out this ruin, and it's basically a tragic surrender in 3 steps. First, the biological burden of choice simply becomes unbearable. Second, the Sandman steps in and offers his dark bargain, a permanent cure for the agony. And finally, in this ultimate act of decadence, humanity's will to power just collapses completely. They accept the bargain, they actively reject the vibrant, messy vitality of self-overcoming, and they trade it all in for a hollow, caged invincibility.
Part 4. Flesh yields to iron.
Let's look at this through the horrified gaze of our lone organic observer. We're witnessing a literal, macabre surgery here. Soft, searching human eyes that once wept and perceived all the erratic beauty of life, gouged out. And in their place, white, sightless mechanical clockwork. These new eyes can't perceive organic beauty anymore. They only reflect the cold, rigid geometry of the cosmic mind. They see structure, sure, but they are entirely blind to wonder.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core horror of it all, culminating right in the chest cavity. Pulsing organic hearts, those messy, fragile engines of passion, are systematically removed. They're swapped out for the merciless grinding of rotating iron teeth. The unpredictable, erratic rhythm of emotion is permanently silenced, completely replaced by the perfect, unfeeling hum of the gear. The soul is surgically extracted.
Part 5. The Last Man Übermenschen.
So we have the Sandman acting as the architect, the facilitator of ruin, performing this ghastly transmutation. And the outcome? The grotesque product that emerges from his work is a legion of automatons. They are submissive witnesses to stasis, defined entirely by porcelain skin and iron hearts.
These beings are called the Last Man Übermenschen.
It's a really dark, sickening parody of Nietzsche's ideal Übermensch. They embody these terminal contradictions, right? On one hand, they're physically invincible. They are completely immune to biological rot. But on the other hand, their spirits are an absolute void. They're entirely hollow, stripped of all organic passions, and suffering a total loss of individual will. They've achieved eternal preservation, but there is literally no self left inside the armor.
And here lies a deeply chilling perversion of an ideal. The Sandman successfully delivers true equality. But in the mechanical void, equality isn't some great social triumph of the spirit, it's a nightmare of mindless ticking. By completely discarding the vitality of self-overcoming, every single person is lowered into a perfectly uniform mechanical stagnation. They are perfectly equal, for sure, but they are equal only in their nothingness.
Let's move to and see how this builds into our final state, Part 6, Silence of the Logical Tomb.
The mechanical void ultimately culminates in this, the logical tomb. It's a beautifully designed mausoleum of absolute nothingness. The friction of life, which is, the catalyst for all growth and all suffering, is permanently extinguished. The universe is quote-unquote corrected by the Sandman into a deafening geometric silence. It becomes a pristine, eternally functioning graveyard.
Try to imagine the crushing despair of our lone survivor. You're gazing out over an endless abyss of porcelain and iron, realizing the total, absolute victory of the void. Nothing in the universe could ever truly happen again. Without the capacity to strive, to make mistakes, to feel that wet agony of choice, history itself just dies. The capacity for change is entombed forever.
So, what does this all mean for us? This dark fable actually reflects a pretty haunting truth back upon our own reality. Think about our modern desperation for absolute security. As we constantly seek to cure our own agony of choice through seamless algorithms and frictionless convenience, are we willingly inching toward our own logical tomb? Are we quietly trading the chaotic, beautiful vitality of the human spirit for the perfect, silent hum of the gear? Keep questioning everything, and whatever you do, never let go of the friction of life. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.